So a few months back, Luke and I decided, hey, let's go play some Halo 5 Ranked Online. We're the best Halo players in the world. All we do is just completely destroy whenever we play Halo 5 Guardians. So we installed Halo 5 Guardians for the first time in many months, got some buddies to join up with us, and we loaded up into a party and went into Ranked. And immediately Luke got kicked out or just dropped or disconnected from the game. We had no idea why this happened, so we backed out and grouped up again in a party. We had Luke join up again. We went into Ranked matchmaking, and sure enough, Luke randomly was disconnected again. So I decided to back out again, and just like that, I got a ban in Halo 5 Guardians. Fair enough, even though I feel like circumstances, considering we were losing a teammate right away at the beginning of the game because of whatever connectivity issue was going on, should have been an exception, and whatever, I was down for a 15-minute, even one of the more aggressive types of bans that could go up to 30 minutes sometimes. Nope, I got a 58-day ban, so that was a really interesting experience. But as it turned out, after tweeting it out and someone from 343's team getting in contact with us, it did in fact turn out that it was an error message, and in reality it was like a 15-minute ban. So while I was thrilled that I wouldn't be turned away from Halo 5 Guardians for 2 months, it did make us start to wonder of other instances where the Halo code just kind of falls apart and does some really weird things. Matter of fact, still looking at Halo 5 Guardians, we never actually resolved the issue that caused Luke to randomly disconnect. And this is something that still has been plaguing us whenever we do jump on Halo 5 to play together, where it seems like there's a very high likelihood when we jump on that if anyone besides Luke is the party leader, the game will just disconnect Luke every time we try loading into things. This happened when we were trying to discover that Mongoose Easter egg, which we did end up discovering, and more recently, Luke and I decided to try to learn Halo 5 Guardians Forge, just because there is really a lot of customizability that you have access to, and we started running into not only the same issue where we need Luke to host, but sometimes, occasionally, this issue is sent over to me, where if Luke is the one hosting, I randomly get disconnected, though then if I host, Luke is able to join me and not get disconnected. We both have open NAT types, we've reset our Xboxes multiple times, so whatever, somewhere in the code, there's something weird going on with Halo 5 Guardians that's just trying so hard to keep us from playing that darn game. But there's also been really other interesting things that have also happened over the years. Like when Master Chief Collection first came out, as many of you witnessed firsthand, the game wasn't really in the best shape. That might be a little bit of an understatement. And while 343 and specifically Splash Damage, who has been working on a lot of the MCC updates in more recent years, have done an outstanding job fixing and polishing up MCC, there's still a decent track record of some hilarious things that have happened with Halo's spaghetti code. For instance, back in the early days of MCC, there was this glitch that would occur where if you got first place in a game, the game might just pop up and say you got first place. They later even made a nameplate kind of acknowledging that joke. This one was still in MCC for a very long time and only seemingly got patched out recently, but if you would hold down the start button when MCC would boot up, the main menu would just kind of self-destruct on itself and make this really annoying sound effect. I currently still run into this issue where every time I'm on MCC for the first time, my little weekly or daily challenge indicator on the top right of the screen is just a line of code looking like it's some sort of pathway code or something. I don't know why this only seems to happen to me. There also was this interesting glitch in the leaderboards of MCC where if you loaded up the level Storm just to look at the leaderboards, your game would just crash. One time, Dim and I were playing through Halo 2 to get some footage for a video, and we finished up the just okay journey of Halo 2. When we got to the ending cutscene, things looked a little bit odd.
Hello Luke here, quick disclaimer, since I wasn't actually there when this happened, this is my recreation of Elijah telling me what happened.
For whatever reason, the background in the cutscene just didn't load in for whatever reason, so it kind of looked like the entire cutscene was just taking place inside of a random basement instead of a Halo installation. One of our newer friends that we've been playing Xbox with a bit was trying to learn the ropes of Halo multiplayer, and who better to teach how to be a pro Halo player than the Rocket Sloth boys. And when we loaded up in a multiplayer game, for whatever reason, he couldn't move at all. He couldn't walk, couldn't turn, couldn't shoot his gun. He could access the menus, but that didn't do anything. And after like 2 games of it still not letting him play, even after restarting his Xbox, we had him look into the settings configuration, and for whatever reason, it had defaulted him to mouse and keyboard, despite him never once plugging in a mouse and keyboard into his Xbox. To make it worse, you're not able to change your input during the actual game itself, so he had to wait till the end of the game to back out into a lobby by himself, and then he was able to change the input to his controller on the Xbox. In Halo 3 ODST, when we were going through counting all of the grunts for that one video we did, we ran into a really odd glitch on Data Hive after completing the level. When the Carnage report showed up, usually the game continues the music that is wherever the cutscene skipped from or wherever the end of the level is from. It just kind of plays for a little bit on a loop until you close out and load up the next level. But for whatever reason, when we did get to the Carnage report, instead of the typical sounds we hear, we instead heard a bunch of brute jetpacks flying around and some yelling noises for just a few seconds. We thought that this was just a weird audio glitch or maybe something weird in the code going on, and then what we noticed a couple of days later is if you look at the leaderboard settings for Data Hive, it said that we had completed the entire level in a very short amount of time, an impossibly fast time, and we suspect what it is for whatever reason, the way the code spaghettied all over the place, it resulted in those few seconds that we had the Carnage report open and we were just listening to the weird sounds as a completion of the level in itself, and it got recorded in the leaderboard. And because of other people's times who are also just as short, we might not be the only people who have ever encountered this glitch, though we don't know how we actually triggered it. We've also had a really weird thing occur whenever we're playing co-op Halo campaign, where sometimes after completing a level, Luke's loading screen will show the splash screen of the level we just completed, where it looks like we're jumping right back into the same level again, even though it loads and puts us directly on the correct level that would be after the level we just played. But what's more fun than playing Halo Lasso and then all of a sudden loading into the level you thought you just beat again, or at least thinking you're about to load into the level you thought you just beat. And sometimes while these coding issues or whatever is going on in the back end of Halo can be either frustrating, annoying, or hilarious, sometimes they do have some really cool and positive effects that can come out of it as well. For instance, all the way back in the day, there was a glitch that you could do where you would be able to play Halo 3's campaign locally 4-player split-screen co-op, where the campaign side of Halo 3 was originally restricted to just 2 players locally, but the multiplayer did have 4-player split-screen, and there is a way to circumvent that and do campaign with 4 players. Also, even further back, we have looked at a glitch in Halo 2 called the AUP glitch, which interestingly enough involves manipulating different parts of the code by the input that you are doing in the actual game to change your Spartan into a different character model. So because of that, you can complete certain Halo levels as a grunt or even a phantom, and that one is pretty crazy nonetheless. There's also been some really weird occurrences that happen sometimes when you're playing through a Halo game and maybe you go too fast along the way, an in-game loading sequence too early, or miss a loading sequence altogether and soft lock your game. Now, we've done a whole video on different types of soft locks, but there's also other weird things that can happen if you skip a loading along the way. Like for instance, recently we were on Sierra 117 trying to show our friend the cavemen Easter eggs, and when we got to the part where all the sniper jackals are, the cavemen family that's always on the rocks just weren't there. We were very confused. We thought maybe we passed it. We went back and forth and we looked at all the rocks. They weren't anywhere. And despite us not even going at a fast pace, we decided to try reverting to last checkpoint anyways. And sure enough, the second time around, we must have hit whatever loading sequence we missed the first time, and the monkey was back. We also talked about this one before, but it's still such a bizarre occurrence that happened in one of our live streams. We were playing Halo 3 custom games right around the time that the Halo 2 anniversary update came to PC. For whatever reason, the Halo 2 anniversary update also somehow managed to break Halo 3 custom games, and for whatever reason, whenever we jumped in a vehicle, it seemed like the cars would be driving without us, and there was some sort of weird RC controller type thing going on. It's still so bizarre to us, and there obviously was some very interesting overlap with a Halo 2 anniversary PC update bleeding over into Halo 3 on the Xbox, but it's likely because MCC was receiving the same updates as the PC, preemptively quickly to get ready for crossplay, and somewhere along the lines, one code just completely messed up another code that led to Halo 3 falling apart. Nonetheless, it was really interesting.
Also, Luke here again, we did forget about this, but I just remembered it. One time we're playing Halo 5, and we're like messing around with like the picking the character at the beginning, and I think one of us like disconnected during it, and it just had the player one, I think it was Buck, like floating in the air, and it didn't come down. After a while, it forced us into picking again, but I don't know, Buck was just floating there awkwardly for a while. Also, I don't know, we didn't really mention this yet, but I also want to give a shout out to both quick resume versions of Halo. They just like break, they just don't want to work, as you can see on screen.
But did you have any weird experiences ever playing through a Halo game where it just seems like the code crashes in on itself? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this. We'll see you all next time with a brand new video.